Okay, let's begin. Good evening and welcome to the Planning Commission of the City of Moreno Valley. I now call this meeting to order on January 14th, 2021 at 7:03 p.m. May we have the roll call, please?
Commissioner Rivera,
Here.
Commissioner Stefan,
Present.
Commissioner Harris,
Here.
Commissioner DeJohnette,
Here.
Commissioner Sims,
Here.
Vice Chairperson Baker,
Here.
Chairperson Corsick.
Present. We will now have the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led by Commissioner Harris.
Hands over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the
To the
flag
flag of the United States
United
of
States of
America
America and to
and
the
to the
republic
republic for which it stands,
stands,
one nation,
nation,
under
under God,
God, indivisible,
indivisible, with
with
liberty
liberty and
and
justice
justice
for
for
all.
all.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Harris. Next, we're going to move on to the approval of the agenda. I assume everyone has read the agenda. Could someone please raise their hand to make the motion? And could we have a second, please? Okay.
I'm going to accept it
We have a
as submitted.
Okay.
I'll second
Okay, great. We have a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Rivera,
it. Yes.
Commissioner Stefan,
Yes.
Commissioner Harris,
Yes.
Commissioner DeJohnette,
Yes.
Commissioner Sims,
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Baker,
Yes.
Chairperson Corsick.
Yes, motion carries. Now we're going to move on to the public comments procedure. During the public comment period for each item, as well during the public comment period for items not on the agenda, each member of the public who has signed up to speak will have a maximum of 3 minutes to speak. If you do not wish to make public comments, please be aware that if you are attending this meeting through the Zoom platform, you will be displayed as a speaker. Those wishing to view the meeting without making comments can do so online via the city's website at www.moval.org/MV3LIVE. This link is available through the city's website. It can also be viewed on YouTube Live and on channel MVTV3. The next item is for public comments for items not on the agenda. Are there any speakers at this point?
Yes, I do have one speaker signed up, Ms.
Okay.
Carrie Finn.
Yes, hello. My name is Carrie Fenn, and I would like to speak on a non-agenda item regarding an overall concern about our city and its planning commission. How many warehouses has this commission approved in the past 10 years? How much more concrete and asphalt square footage do you plan to add to our already overheated and compromised environment? According to loopnet.com, there are 15 available warehouse leases in Moreno Valley with over 500,000 square feet of space. Compare that to the number of parks this commission has approved over the past 10 years, or trails, or family play spaces. Unlike a comment from a current commissioner that stated it really doesn't matter how many cannabis stores you approve, or based on tonight's agenda, liquor stores, because the market will only allow the strong to survive. Warehouses consume space that can no longer be used for anything else and will leave a barren concrete jungle behind because there is no county or city reuse plan when their run is done. This commission has also used the argument that warehouses bring jobs and residual businesses to our city. They build it and they will come philosophy. You did build it, but did it come to our city? Indeed.com only lists Amazon, Harbor Freight, and Aldi, plus temp agencies Lanier and Access as hiring in Moreno Valley right now. Our county unemployment rate is almost 8% in a region that is overran with so-called job-producing warehouses. These warehouses have brought the equivalent of turn of the last century industrial age working conditions, which has led to a 23% positive COVID infection rate due to dense worker proximity and working conditions per the LA Times article. We've become the national poster child for rampant worker abuse with few worker benefits, which adds to an already overburdened healthcare and social services system. Your rush to potentially approve zoning and land use changes to accommodate these mega warehouses of indentured labor is shameful. This commission and city council are as responsible for the carnage that has resulted in 174 COVID deaths in our city as the disease itself. I ask, put the warehouse approval virtual gun down. No more warehouses. Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie. Next, are there any other speakers?
No, Madam Chair, that was all.
Okay, thank you. Next, we're going to move on to the consent calendar. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the consent calendar. All items listed under the consent calendar are considered to be routine and non-controversial and may be enacted by one motion unless a member of the commission requests that an item be removed for separate action. Items withdrawn for report or discussion will be heard after the public hearing items. Questions or comments from the public on a consent calendar matter are limited to 3 minutes per individual and must pertain to the subject under consideration. First item is the minutes of the November 12th, 2020 Planning Commission, and the second item is the minutes of the December 10th, 2020 Planning Commission meeting. Could I have a motion to accept these if we find that they are correct?
Also move.
May we have a second?
Second.
Okay, let's call for the vote, please.
I'm sorry, Madam Chair. Can I get clarification on the seconder?
Oh, the second was, I think it was Commissioner Sims.
Raphael?
Oh, was it right?
Yes. Second.
Thank you, sir. Okay, Commissioner Bouguer,
Yes.
Commissioner Stefan,
Yes.
Commissioner Harris,
Yes.
Commissioner Dejanay,
Yes.
Commissioner Sims. Oh, looks like Commissioner Sims is muted.
Yes.
Thank you. Vice Chairperson Baker
Yes.
and Chairperson Corsick.
Yes, motion carried. Now we're going to move on to the public hearing items. But before we do, I want to do a quick review of the steps in the public hearing process for the commissioners. I think we should start the year off right. We've been kind of going into some unusual territory in the last few meetings, and I want to clarify just very briefly what we can do and what we should be doing in each portion. The staff report. Questions pertaining only to the staff report should be asked. As commissioners, we're obliged to read and review all the documentation provided beforehand by staff. They work hard on putting together this information about the specific project, and we need to address this only. Staff can clarify any questions we ask, but we should not involve the applicant in any discussion unless staff chooses to do so. We only should ask questions about the report and refrain from engaging in any other commissioners' discussions. That comes later on. When we come to the applicant's presentation, they present their projects and are available for questions from commissioners. Once again, questions about the project are welcome from individual commissioners. Discussion of the merits of the project take place during later deliberation. Then we move to the public hearing, where the public speakers are given 3 minutes to comment on the project. Commissioners may not directly comment on any of their presentations. When the final speaker is finished, the applicant may address any of the concerns. At that time, when we satisfy all of that, we close the public hearing and we move on to the deliberations. At that time, the applicant or staff should not address any of the commissioners. The merits and concerns of the project at this time are discussed among all the commissioners until someone calls for the vote and makes a motion. I hope that maybe clarifies a little bit of some of the discussions that we have had in the last few meetings that kind of have gone off on tangents. So moving along, we're going to move to item number 1, which is the general plan amendment, specific plan amendment, and plot plan for a new light industrial building. May we have the staff report, please?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Associate Planner Julia Dakota will be presenting this item.
Good evening, Planning Commissioners. The applicant is requesting approval of a general plan amendment, a specific plan amendment, and a plot plan. Next slide, please. The project is located on the northeast corner of Heacock Street and Ironwood Avenue for the development of approximately 10 acres at that location. Properties to the north and northwest include developed single-family residential with an electrical substation on the northeast corner of Heacock and Ironwood. The properties to the north, west, and the west include a mix of existing single-family homes, offices, and commercial businesses within the neighborhood commercial district and the office commercial district. Properties to the south and southwest are within the existing Pacific Plan 205 under construction with light industrial and new and proposed existing retail commercial uses. The properties to the north with the residential are zoned residential 5. Next slide, please. Can we go back one slide, please? Okay, let's see, missing one. Okay, the approval of a general plan amendment and the specific plan amendment is required for the approval of the proposed development. The current general plan land use map designates the project site as commercial with the proposed change to business park. The current land use designation in the specific plan is commercial retail with the proposed change to mixed use. The specific plan change to mixed use provides a variety of development opportunities, which include business park, office, retail, and other commercial and light industrial uses. The approval of the general plan to business park and the specific plan amendment to mixed use provides the land use necessary for the proposed project. The site plan before you shows, back up one slide, please. Thank you. The proposed plot plan is for the construction of approximately 221,000 square feet of light industrial building. The building will front both Heacock Street and Ironwood Avenue. Auto parking is provided along the frontage of the project site along Heacock and Ironwood, including the required ADA parking spaces, EV charging stations, and clean vehicle spaces. There are 2 access points on Heacock and 1 on Ironwood, with the truck loading area located on the southeast side of the project. Truck traffic will enter and exit the site using the southerly driveway on Heacock Street, with auto use on the northerly entrance there on Heacock, and then also there is access on Ironwood Avenue. The building will be set back from the street approximately 72 feet on Heacock Street, and Ironwood will vary between 68 and 77 feet. There will be decorative paving along the driveway ingress and egress, and also at the front corner of the building where the entry is. Next slide, please. The proposed light industrial building has been designed to incorporate a contemporary architectural design consistent with the specific plan that includes a combination of materials, including concrete, metal, and glass. The building will be painted with a white and gray and blue accent. The design incorporates an architectural focal point near the intersection of Heacock Street and Ironwood Avenue through the use of vision and spandrel glass, medical canopies, and enhanced landscaping. These materials are further utilized along both street frontages to enhance the project's aesthetic and to upgrade the use of the tilt-up concrete panels traditionally associated with light industrial buildings. Next slide, please. And this is a corner view of the site at Heacock and Ironwood, showing the glass with the metal accents and the features on that corner with the enhanced landscaping. Next slide, please. Enhanced landscaping will be provided both along Heacock Street and Ironwood Avenue with required street trees, on-site trees, and various plants and materials to create the focal point on the corner and wrapping both sides of the building. Next slide, please. An initial study was prepared in compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA, with findings that a mitigated negative declaration serves as the appropriate CEQA documentation. The initial study examined the potential and the proposed project impacts on the environment and provides information in support of the findings that a mitigated negative declaration serves as the appropriate CEQA documentation for the proposed project. The initial study and technical studies and the mitigation monitoring report is included in the packet. The project was noticed in the newspaper on site and to all property owners within 600 feet. To date, I have received 5 questions regarding the project. 4 of them were via email, and you have received those. At this time, staff recommends that the Planning Commission approve the following resolution. Resolution number 2021-01, recommending that the City Council adopt a mitigated negative declaration and mitigated monitoring and reporting program. Resolution 2021-02, recommending that the City Council approve a general plan amendment. Resolution 2021-03, recommending that the City Council approve a specific plan amendment for specific plan 205. And Resolution 2021-04, recommending that the City Council approve the plot plan. This concludes staff's presentation, and the applicant's team is also available here to answer any questions for you this evening and provide a presentation to you as well during their time period. Thank you very much, and this concludes my presentation.
Thank you very much, Julia. Are there any commissioner questions for staff?
I have a question.
Yeah. Okay, Commissioner Bergares.
Thank you, ma'am. Staff, I'm looking at one of my sheets, Exhibit A, list of permit and conditionally permit use. And I'm looking at all the descriptions that are on 2 sheets. Are these for future projects that can be approved on this site?
What page are you looking at, Commissioner?
I'm looking at Exhibit A, page 21 and 22.
Okay, just one moment. Let me find that page.
Sure, ma'am.
Are you on the packet page?
Well, I got it from the card that you sent me, and from the flash drive. So I went to Exhibit A, the first one, and then I wound up on going through it. I wound up on page 21 and 22, and I'm looking at land use, a list of permits and conditionally permit use. So the question I ask again, are these potential businesses that can be put on this property?
A moment.
For any other,
You're looking at the land use matrix in the specific plan, correct?
yes, ma'am.
Based on the zoning and the, in planning area 1, yes, some of them are conditionally permitted and some of them are permitted uses.
So these are the type of businesses that can go in a business park.
That is correct.
Okay. Yeah, because there's quite a few,
Yeah.
I'm looking at it once again, and I looked at it very well earlier. There's quite a few things that can be also put into a business park. You know, I mean, there's over 50 things here that could be applied to this project on this, if it gets approved as a business park. So for those that are looking to find it, just go to your flash drive or Exhibit A and go to page 21 and 22, and you can see of all the positive things that can go on there. So, okay, thank you for that, Julia. I have one more question on the packet page 1004. When you mentioned mature landscaping, what I've seen in the past is when a project gets approved, instead of having mature plants, we get to see these baby plants get put in. Then some of us have to wait 10, 20 years, even longer to see them mature around the building. So when I look at this picture, I don't see what I'm gonna see if it gets approved today. So are we gonna put mature plants or are we gonna put small plants that mature later? Because I mean, the picture looks good, but
Right, the picture normally shows how the landscaping will be at maturity. So the trees do take a considerable amount of time to grow. However, we will be doing,
excuse me?
per the municipal code and the landscape guidelines, we require the 24-inch box for some of the trees.
Right.
And then some of the corner trees will be a 36-inch box. So it depends on which tree it is, but some of them are larger than others.
Right. I understand the inches of the box is 24 and 36. They even have 48s. I mean, so depending how mature you want the tree to go in right away. So again, now the paint on the wall, who selected that to be white?
The applicant has proposed the colors with the application in front of us.
Okay. All right. Yeah, because I went by there twice this week to look at it and look at the ones that already have been built. And I have nothing against a white surface, just like a white car. It deflects some rays from being on top of it. I'm hoping that this is the case with this paint, that it reflects it, light from burning up against the building, so it don't have heat where it don't generate energy to be used, you know. So I just have a little trouble when I see white buildings in our city. Kind of our city is like a kind of a Western type sand looking type buildings, that the way we have them around throughout the city. All right. Thank you so much for the answers, ma'am.
Are there any other questions?
Commissioner Sims has some.
Great.
Proceed.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. What's the setback? What's the setbacks from the property line on the north side of Ironwood to the base of the proposed building? the property lines of the residential properties on the north side of Ironwood to the property, to the building.
Well, I don't know exactly what the street width is. We can look at that, but on Ironwood, the setback from the property line to the building varies between the 68 feet and 77 feet. The reason there's a variation there is because of the bus turnout. So I would have to check with John Crenny to see what the width of the street is. It's a 4-lane street, and so we would add that with the 68 feet, plus their setback on the north side is probably about 10 feet.
So approximately, we would say approximately 150 feet from the backyards of the residential houses on the north side of the street.
Probably, yes.
What is the buffer that was used along Redlands Boulevard and along Eucalyptus for the buffer between like for World Logistics on Redlands Boulevard? What was the buffer from the residential? If I seem to recall, that was upwards of 300 feet.
I don't have that information. Let me see if we have that information for you.
And then the other question I have is, that might be more geared towards Mr. Lloyd. What is Ironwood designated as a truck route on the city's traffic circulation map?
Yes, the portion of Ironwood is, go ahead, Michael.
Sorry, Julia. Good evening, Commissioner. Yes, per our municipal code, which is set by City Council, this portion of Ironwood is designated as a truck route as well as Heacock Street.
And what's the limits of the truck route on Ironwood?
Ironwood is a designated truck route from Paris Boulevard over to the west to Pigeon Pass Road.
Thank you. And Julia, what was, did you have that setback? I didn't hear.
I'm still looking for that. It'll be just a moment.
And I guess the other question is, so with approval of this project, there would be truck traffic coming off of the project, ingress and egress from Ironwood onto Ironwood. Is that correct?
There could be, yes. We've designed the project to encourage the site design as well as the truck traffic coming off of the freeway to come north on Heacock and into that first driveway. They also have the opportunity, once they get into the truck court, to make the turnaround and come back out that same Heacock driveway so that they can go back south to the freeway.
And what improvements are being done in Heacock to accommodate a right turn in? I guess it would be a right turn in. Is there going to be a signaled intersection at the exit on Heacock out of the project at that southerly entrance exit?
No, there is no proposed street light there. Signal.
Okay. Well, yeah, I don't want to sound rhetorical, the rhetorical question, but I would almost bet the house that there was at least 300 feet at a minimum of 300 foot of separation along the east side of Redlands Boulevard to any of the proposed World Logistics. That's one of the conditions in that one. It's also along, if you go. Yes.
If I may?
Yes.
It's 250 feet from the center line of Redlands Boulevard.
Okay. All right.
That's from center, yeah.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. That's all I have.
Any other commissioner questions? I can't see if there are any hands raised. If there are no,
I don't-
go ahead.
I'm sorry, I don't see any other hands raised,
Any-
Madam
okay.
Chair.
I can't see everybody on the screen for some reason tonight. Okay, if we have no other questions at this point, at this time, would the applicant like to speak?
So my name is Ryan Martin. I'm with Lido Capital Group, and we are the applicant.
Did you want to make a presentation?
You know, I would love to. I think Julia or Ashley, if you have the presentation, if you can put that up, that would be great. I guess I warn you in advance. I've got 3 kids and a couple of dogs, so I apologize if you hear kids screaming or kids or dogs barking in the background. I thought it'd be helpful just because we are essentially the master developer for what was the old festival project. Just to walk you through a little bit of history, because obviously we were in front of Planning Commission, you know, a little over 2 years ago, coming through the city. And I just think from a perspective standpoint, it'd be great to kind of walk back through that period of time. So if you can go to the next slide, please. Can you get, there you go, perfect. So when we looked at this property, you know, the history on it, I think, you know, many of you know this, the original festival project was started in built essentially 1989, 1990. You had an old home base that was there. You had an Edwards 6 cinema. You had a variety of buildings, which you see there right in front of you, comprised of about 200,000 square feet in total. Had a few pads, the KFC, Yoshinoya, IHOP, and Arby's, as well as a Red Lobster. In the early 2000s, kind of 2000 to 2001, you had the home base go out of business. Edwards 6 Cinema followed suit. The Red Lobster went out of business. The Arby's went out of business. And you pretty much had a dead center for the better part of 2 decades. So you pull up the next slide. So when we looked at this opportunity, we knew it would take a lot of vision just looking at the festival center. I know Commissioner Raphael, I know you had commented on the color of the buildings, and I think big picture, one thing that we were trying to do as we were looking at the opportunity is we knew it was going to take something more than what had been there. I mean, obviously, if this was something that was easy to do, somebody would have done it in the last 18, 19 years. So it was not an easy task. It had suffered from chronic vacancy between short-term tenants and true vacancy. The project was the better part of 70% vacant. It had become really just a major homeless encampment. We found 30 to 40 homeless people living within the city's detention center when we finally went to develop the property. So it was a pretty dramatic undertaking. Having said that, for us, we knew that we needed something different and that retail was not going to purely solve it, and that we had to bring jobs and really a mixed use project to the forefront and do something that would bring jobs that would help then ultimately support the retail. And in turn, the retail would provide amenity for many of those employers with the jobs. And so, we started on this big rebranding effort, went through the process. We weren't exactly sure how it was going to all, come to pass. But we knew, again, if you can go to the next slide, that we had a bunch of old buildings, boarded up buildings. You had the old Red Lobster that became a nightclub, for a period of time. And what we had gathered from the meetings that we had with various neighbors is, one, they wanted jobs. Two, they wanted, to have restaurants and places to go. They wanted to have connectivity, with the project. As it stood when we were acquiring it, you only had access on the east end, past Indian and Nita, as well as off of Heacock, but you didn't have anything through, through Davis Street that didn't go through, and everything was just tired and old. And so, for us, we started out by rebranding it, one, as the district. We, commenced with a plan, and we went through a bunch of different plans on what we thought was going to be best. but we knew one thing's for sure. We didn't want the project to be unsuccessful. It's very easy to say that you want it to be this, you want it to be that, but at the end of the day, you've got to meet two things. One, you have to meet the market demand. But the second thing is you also have to do something that has flexibility and can sustain, because I don't know what the future holds. I don't know what's going to be, with what the future looks like in 10 years. We may be getting packages delivered by drones. We may be all in autonomous vehicles. It's very difficult to know, but having a level of flexibility so the project was not in the same situation 10 years from now was super important to us. So we set about designing the business park, and as we acquired the property, we ended up making an introduction with Floor and Decor. We were very, very fortunate to land them. I can say definitively that they would have not gone to this location had it not been for the business park development. Again, having 30, 40 homeless people, just open territory land, no employment, no jobs next to it. It was a dead center. It wasn't gonna happen. So you can go to the next slide. So, essentially, where are we today? We've accomplished a tremendous amount in the project in terms of rebranding and our efforts to bring in new tenancy. And so, we brought in the Floor and Decor. We started construction on the business park properties. We ultimately were able to land a great hotel brand, Woodspring Suites. You can see that in the bottom right-hand corner. They're soon to commence on a 4-building, 124-room hotel, which is frankly remarkable. To think of what this project used to be, to think that you're going to have a brand new 4-story hotel, a new interchange there at Need a Drive. You now have the Floor and Decor. And continuing on with that, all 4 of our buildings are now leased, and spoken for. And so I can go through those tenants, but I know there was a speaker early on talking about, the vacancy. And so our vision was one where we thought and hoped that people could someday potentially walk to work. They could potentially bike to work. There's connectivity through Davis Street, which is about to open. We're going to have some pictures that come up here in a second, but we've got 4 brand new tenants coming in. So the first one I'm going to talk about is Building 4. You've got a company, it's called Corporate Office Image. They've been around since 1998. Gentleman by the name of Jose Medina moved his family from Mexico, started his business back then, has built it up. He's in about 4 or 5 different facilities, and he is actually acquiring that building. So he's buying the building, making a long-term commitment to the city, bringing all of his employees. He's going to be hiring local as well. But a huge story, really an American dream type of story, but a great company and a great addition to the district. On Building 3, we've got a company that started back with an acquisition in Southern California. They're now national, but they're called TSC Apparel. They do t-shirts, sweatshirts. So if you needed to buy 30 sweatshirts for your local, daughter's softball team, and if they won the championship, you have the ability to go to their project, although they deliver direct to the consumer. They'll deliver obviously to stores. If you want to go to their showroom, you can go to their showroom, pick out exactly what you want. They can select it. They can do the printing, all of those things for you. You can pick up your 30, jerseys or I should say sweatshirts on that day. So again, we think it's a great company. They're going to have about 65 employees all told in that project. Building 2 is another company called Access Information Management. They're in the file storage business. They are a national, in fact, they're an international firm at this point in time. They're the largest privately held record storage firm in the country, and I think the world for that matter, second only to Iron Mountain. So record storage for all of the local hospitals, a lot of the municipalities such as Moreno Valley and others. They're keeping important records, but same thing. They're essentially consolidating into this facility, are going to be putting a tremendous amount of money into this project. And then the last user in Building 1 is a company called Greenball Tires. They are an Anaheim-based company, have been around about 40 years. They do a lot of the aftermarket tires, so selling tractor tires, motorcycle tires, ATV tires. They do sell regular car tires. But again, another great success story. They're moving from their facility in Fontana to this facility. So we, think again, what's been created thus far in such a short period of time is pretty dramatic. Some of you may, and hopefully all of you saw the Sprouts announcement yesterday, which we think is an absolute home run as well. I would tell you again, none of this happens without the business park. So it's easy, again, to want certain things without the other, but in this particular case, you wouldn't get that. The center would still be, dead, unfortunately. And so we've got the Sprouts development going on south of Hemlock, if everyone knows where the KFC is. Unfortunately, we don't own the Jiffy Lube facility or the old car wash, but adjacent to that, we're going to have the new Sprouts grocery store and a few shops in addition to that. The old Red Lobster, we've signed a lease on that building. We can't announce the retailer just yet, but another great brand for the city and another huge win for the district. And then last but not least, we've got the old Arby's. We're very close to the lease on that. And again, a very, very solid national brand that will be hopefully something that makes everybody proud. And again, the goal here is that people can walk, hopefully from their neighborhood, they can bike to their neighborhood. Somebody has a business client coming to town, they can stay at the Wood Spring Suites. But overall, you think about the economic impact of this entire project. At the end of the day, we'll have spent or invested the better part of probably 125 to 175 million dollars into Moreno Valley, all that wasn't there just a couple short years ago. So it's a pretty remarkable turnaround. And you think of all the construction jobs that we had with our project on the business park, construction jobs on the floor and decor, construction jobs you'll have on the hotel, construction jobs you'll have on the Sprouts. So you keep going down the list, and then you think about all of the permanent jobs you now have, because this is an economic engine. And whereas before you had the mall and you had basically Moreno Beach and everything in between was kind of a dead as far as retail, we think this is a great example of how you can do institutional quality, mixed use project and make it successful. And, Rafael or Commissioner Rafael or Garris, I know you mentioned the whiteness of the buildings, and if it's anybody's fault, it's probably my wife's, and I probably blame her if only she wasn't in the other room. But the reality is, the one thing that we didn't want our buildings to look like, we didn't want them to look tired. And I know you mentioned that a lot of the buildings are kind of that brown, but if you drive around, and I'll highlight some other projects when we talk about the subject 10 acres, but when you drive around, that's what you see. Everything, not everything, but I'm saying the older centers look tired. And so our feeling is that we wanted something that truly was timeless. And what I mean by that is that 10 years from now, those buildings are going to look new. They're going to look clean and classic. We didn't want to do something that was ornamental, kind of what you saw from the festival look, which it looked dated the day that it was done. And so it was really, really important for us to do something that had a lasting image and had a clean appeal. So if you can go to the next slide. So this was, the original pylon sign. This is just an example of what we think doing things in a first-class manner, what that means. And again, we've got a ton of stuff left to do on the project, so I don't want you to think that in any way, shape, or form we're close to being done. I mean, we have, just so you know, we still have about 80 to with the movie theater and the other existing retail. We've got upwards of 100,000 square feet of retail and commercial space we still have to lease. So it's an arduous task. It's not easy. There are not a lot of those users out there. So there's still a lot of heavy lifting to be done. But as part of our rebranding effort, and if you can go to the next slide, we put in a brand new 62-foot high pylon sign. And getting back to doing looks that are timeless, we're certainly proud of this, but I would tell you that this sign is going to look fresh and clean 10 years from now. And there are a tremendous amount of signs that I drive by that have ornamental components to them, and they look dated. They look like they're from the 80s, 90s, whatever it is. This is a very clean look, and this is the style that we were going after. So you can go to the next slide. And I'm just going through a few examples. So this is what it looked like from the parking lot, looking at what was the old home base building, which had been really wasn't occupied. It was occupied by a company that was just in there to essentially make sure that they could cover their insurance payments. So next slide, please. This is the brand new floor and decor. So I hope many of you have been able to go over and see it, if not shop there. I can tell you from the general manager, Jesse, they had their original projections for what Moreno Valley would be, and we really had to obviously sell them on the area. We had to make a very strong, financial deal with them so that they would go to this location. But I can tell you, the very favorable part is they said they doubled their projections. So they are doing phenomenally well. So kudos to the residents of Moreno Valley for taking the time in COVID to remodel their homes and bathrooms and kitchens and all that, because again, this is a huge win for the city. So if you can go to the next slide, please. Again, another picture of what this was, and the old home base with a lot of ornamental styles and looks that just made the property look old. Next slide, please. Okay, another shot of the floor and decor. Next slide, please. So this is Davis Street looking down, and I do also want to comment. You can kind of see the Yoshinoya building down there on the right-hand side. They're going to be doing a brand new prototype there. So that store within the next call it 6 to 12 months will have the appearance and look as though it's a new store. This is obviously a dated picture. If you can go to the next slide, please. So these are the buildings that line Davis Street. So to me, they have a very officey appeal. They are warehouses, logistics facilities, but you know what these are? They're highly flexible facilities. So the speaker at the very beginning of the project talked about these buildings losing their utility. If there's any building that will lose its value less, it's one of these buildings. Retail, obviously, there's a ton of retail, and we'll go over it later. These particular buildings have a tremendous amount of flexibility in terms of what you want to do, whether or not you want to add office to it, whether or not somebody else wants to do something that involves with light assembly. Again, we just don't know what the future holds, but the buildings are very flexible. I will say this though, the buildings are not, they're not done. We don't have any of the landscaping in at this point. So, this is still a work in progress. So next slide, please. So this is what the end of Davis Street used to look like. Again, this is essentially as you were wading into the homeless encampments where 30 to 40 homeless people were living. You had no connectivity with the neighborhoods, the adjacent neighborhoods. It was just, sadly, it had become very much a wasteland. Then you can go to the next slide, please. So now you have a brand new road, sidewalks on both sides. You have connectivity if somebody wants to, walk their kid in the stroller, and hopefully at some point, go to the ice cream store that we'll have there at some point soon, or go get food, or who knows what it is, or it's just an employee now that wants to, to walk out of their facility and go walk to get something to eat. It's a very, very unique situation. So this development is not like any other. It's not like somebody's just throwing up a warehouse down the street. This is a true mixed use project, and it's in many respects a true mixed use success. Next slide, please. So again, I know the planning staff had gone through it, but you can see from the plan, there's essentially a final piece to the puzzle there. It's one last parcel. I will say this, the owners of the parcel, and I know unfortunately they couldn't be, one is on the call, I think, but not speaking, but they had written an email. Julie, I think you had maybe presented to the commissioners, but I'll paraphrase it. Between the three of them, Two of them are with Pacific Retail Partners. The other one is Joe Rich with Rich Development. Between the three, they have 150 years of retail development experience and over 40 million square feet developed in the Western United States. They developed Moreno Beach. They've developed a number of other projects in Moreno Valley and the surrounding area. They own this site. They've been marketing the site for 5 years, trying to find retailers to come to this location. And again, God knows if anybody could solve that and figure out how to get retailers on this particular property, they would have done it. You know, at the end of the day, retail is a very, very finicky and difficult animal. When we were first acquiring the site back in 2018, the stock market was on fire. The economy was going gangbusters. I've got a little list here in 2018 of the store closings. Foot Locker, 110 stores. Toys R Us, 182 stores. Sam's Club, 63 stores. Sears and Kmart, 103 stores. Gap and Banana Republic, 200 stores. That was in 2018. Now we're coming out of COVID right now, and I just pulled up another list for 2020 store closing. GNC, 1,200 stores. Pier 1, 936 stores. Men's Warehouse and Joseph Banks, 500 stores. GameStop, 320. Walgreens, 200. I could go on and on, but I guess what I'm trying to say is that retail is incredibly challenging. You've got across the street, the substation that we discussed. You've got the Ironwood Plaza, which is a underperforming center, a dated center. It's only got one, I guess, regional tenant, if you want to call it that. That's 99-cent stores. You go down to Pigeon Pass Plaza with the Stater Brothers, and they've only got a couple themselves. They've got a Subway, a Pizza Hut. I think they might have a Metro PCS, but that's about it. You go over to Canyon Springs Plaza. That's over 400,000 square feet of retail. And aside from doing the Golden Corral, I could be wrong, I'm not familiar with any national or retail developers that they have in that particular project. Going on to the mall, you've got an availability rate that's pushing 30% right now. And you know that there's a whole, whether it's Forever 21, Victoria's Secret, there's a whole host of other tenants that have already filed for bankruptcy. And sadly, very sadly, that project will probably be, 40% vacant here in the very near term. So, from our standpoint, we would love to be able to please everybody and for everything to always be, perfect. You want people to be satisfied. I want people to love the buildings, the way they look, the architectural design, the paint colors, all of those things. But at the end of the day, you really, to do something successful, you have to be able to, work within a framework that's going to be successful. And we know that, unfortunately, the way of the world, Amazon and all of those things, more and more people are buying online. Heck, with the Sprouts grocery store, a good portion of their business is planned for delivery. So there's going to be a whole host of people that still go to the grocery store, but in 5 years, do 20% of the people get all of their groceries delivered? It's very difficult to know, but I know this, each passing day, it's growing, exponentially. So you could go to the next slide, please. You can click through these. So this is what was presented already by planning, but that's the corner of the building. Again, we really have dressed it up. In our opinion, we're trying to make these buildings look like office buildings. I would say this, when you don't see buildings with landscaping, it's no different than, when you go and drive through a residential, new development and there's no landscaping. Things look stark. Heck, if I was in my office and didn't have, plants or pictures of my family or whatever, and it was just all white and open office without anything in it, it's going to look stark. So I would just ask for the public to give that time, let the landscaping go in. It may take a year to mature, but let it go in, and it's going to look phenomenal at the end of the day. Next slide, please. So again, this is our building. Why don't you go to the next slide, please. And so this is what it looks like, kind of filled in with that last puzzle piece. And so, we, as I said, looked at a bunch of different designs. We looked at smaller buildings. At the end of the day, we really wanted to have something that had the most impact on the area in terms of value, but was the least impactful as far as traffic, congestion, and really the blight. When it's all said and done, we wanted to see this project be successful. Right now, that 10 acres, it is a homeless encampment. It just got cleaned off about 3 weeks ago, and sadly, they all moved down to our property. And we had to ultimately get them off, but I can't tell you how many times, we've had, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 worth of damage because they're going to go after $20 worth of copper. And they sadly, and everybody is sad for the situation, but because of drugs and everything else, residential community, I mean, the bane of our existence is the liquor store at the southwest corner of Heacock and Hemlock. It tends to, drive everybody there. And unfortunately, we still and continue to this day, even the success we've had, we still continue to fight it. But the 10-acre site right now is really a home base for them, sadly. And more importantly, the use is there. As I said, retail is not a functional use for that location. It's not going to be an office building that goes in that location. I can go down the list, apartments, hotels. You guys can think for yourself whether or not you deem that to be, a good location for those types of uses. We see this as kind of the perfect and final puzzle piece to what is a pretty amazing turnaround and overall project. And we think it's going to help further accelerate the additional retail development. You can see all the other paths that we still have left to develop in the project. But we really think this is an accelerator to get through and be able to redevelop and bring even more restaurants, fill that 100,000 square feet of shop and commercial space that we already have, and then build out whether it's more paths or anything else. So I guess with that, I apologize. That was very lengthy, but I thought it was worthwhile to bring everybody back, back in time a little bit and then understand how far we've come. So thank you. And I'm here to answer any questions.
Thank you. Are there any commissioner questions for the applicant?
Commissioner Harris?
Yes. As you're going into the project off of Heacock on the north side, it says future retail.
Yes.
Isn't there already like a Moreno Valley Realty or something like that, and a beauty shop, and I don't know, just kind of a little small, straight, very dated strip mall there?
There is, and that's correct. And so we have slated that for redevelopment. So at some point in time, that will be something else. And again, that was a building, great building for its time, but it was built in the mid-70s.
Okay. Now, are you planning on dressing that corner up with landscaping when you take that building out?
Very much so. So we've, you saw the pylon sign. So in addition to dressing it up with landscaping, we're redoing all of the signage within the project. So, all of our entrances will have new signage. Again, everything comes with time. You need to get some deals, if you will, in the door before you go out and start spending money on things like that. Again, location, everything else, but all of that's going to be dressed up. Of course, signage is hugely important for the respective retailers, and so we're going to have a tremendous amount of monument signage dedicated to the tenants, in addition to the pylon sign, which is already out.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
I have a couple of questions, ma'am.
Go ahead.
Mr. Martin, congratulations on your first project and letting us know the success of the outcome of the buildings being leased already and one sold. Now, the leased buildings, who maintains them? The property?
Well, we have a property management company that maintains the whole property. Again, I think if you were to drive through it today, you're going to see some areas, I'm speaking probably more on the south side of Hemlock, that aren't as clean and as tight as they will be once that area gets developed. Again,
Right.
You're kind of, chasing rabbits, however you want to describe it. It's difficult, as I indicated to you, the homeless. They
Right.
will break into the meters to try and hook up their cell phones. They will cut our irrigation lines to get water. So it's, I guess it's whack-a-mole kind of thing. But at the end of the day, we're struggling at times to maintain the boulevard or Hemlock, because we got, the irrigation lines that get cut and things of that nature. And then two, we know development is coming. And so it doesn't make a great deal of sense to, invest a bunch of money or time maintaining that landscaping when much of it's going to get torn out.
Okay, so the building that was sold to the investor, are they gonna maintain their own building, or the property manager is gonna maintain the whole lot, the whole business?
That's a good question. We have not broached that topic with them. My guess is they will probably, just from a economic standpoint, will stay within. Obviously, the parkways and everything we're still going to maintain. But when you talk about being on property, we have not had that conversation with them. But as I said, as opposed to them going out and getting their own contract, it's going to make far more sense for them to, from an economic standpoint, to just maintain it with us.
Okay, so with the homeless problem, and I understand what you're saying about them finding water, electricity, and all that stuff, and they'll go through your windows if they need to do that. And I've seen a
Yes,
lot
they
of boarded
will.
up places. Now, are you thinking when the project is all completed, are you thinking of having security at night to roam the area?
We will, and truth be told, we have security now. So it's, you can, not delving too much into it, but obviously the homeless, have people that are out there watching where the security is, and if the security goes in the other direction, or is gone then for their 2 hours, we try and vary the security at different times of the night. So there isn't a routine. So we do our best, but it's a never ending task. The reason that you work your way out of it, or that we don't have 40 homeless now, and we're dealing with 10 on a more regular basis, or 5 on a more regular basis, because we've had so much development. We've been able to do something, create something, and so there's less area. And when a hotel finally breaks ground, there's going to be even less area. They tend to camp out in the Riverside County, flood drainage pipe there, right along the 60 freeway. So they for all of the talk of them wanting money shelter, in reality, when we talk to PD, many of them have decided that they prefer a life on the street. Doesn't make any sense to me. Doesn't make any sense to anybody on this call. But it's just the reality of the situation.
So on the 220,000 square foot project that's going to be on the agenda tonight, is that already being leased, looked at?
We've talked to some tenants about it, but in reality, most buildings are built on a speculative basis. The market is such that there's enough demand that you don't have to know who the tenants are and the lead time to build. And a logistics building, if you will, or a business park building is such that you don't have to know who the tenant is going to be in advance, like you would say if you were building a smaller office project or something. Certainly on a retail, like we wouldn't go inspect, a grocery store hoping that we would land a grocery store. That wouldn't be economically feasible. But in the business,
I just didn't want the building. Right. I just didn't want the building to be number 16 on that list.
Believe me, what's been created is very unique. Again, you talk about these types of users, the ability to actually walk to a restaurant, bike from their house to work. It's a pretty unique situation. And again, the goal was that we could do something that truly was lasting, that wasn't a fad. Thank God, and not that it was ever an office, it wasn't an office location, but could you imagine, having a small office building up right now? It would be BK, like all of the retailers. So, again, there's a lot of foresight, a lot of thought that goes into it. And I just hope the community appreciates that this isn't easy. If it were easy, truly everybody would do it and the project would not have languished for the better part of 2 decades.
So when your project is completed, hopefully by the end of the year, I'm assuming that we're gonna have less problems in the business park with homeless and things like that. That's
If that's a question, yeah, I would say
yes.
There is no question about that. Again, when you have employees there on a regular basis, same thing as, you add landscaping, you add cars, you add people, you add a whole bunch of life and activity. People are going to dinner, down the street, whatever it may be. That without question is going to reduce the homeless issue.
Thank you, sir, for your answers.
Anyone else?
I don't see anyone else's hand up, Madam Chair.
Okay, then at this point, we're going to open public testimony. The clerk will call upon each person who is on the Zoom application that has requested to speak. Each member of the public wishing to speak will have a maximum of 3 minutes to speak on this agenda item. Do we have any people wishing to speak?
We do have several signed up to speak.
Okay.
The first person I have signed up is Carrie Finn.
Okay. Okay, Carrie, you can begin.
Thank you. I request the Planning Commission deny this agenda item that based on page 1005 of the agenda packet would add another 220,000 square foot mega warehouse to our city. It would set directly opposite of existing residential housing on Ironwood Avenue. And according to the initial study in mitigated environmental declaration, 3 sides of this proposed project are located near sensitive light receptor areas. Yet in response to this condition, this same report states this issue would have less than significant impact on the surrounding area. Just imagine you're putting your children to bed at night or you're barbecuing on your front patio. How would this additional noise and light pollution impact your family's lives? This project would be harmful in any area, but the surrounding residential communities were in existence on Ironwood Avenue when there was a movie theater, restaurants, and other more suited businesses in the Festival Shopping Center far from their front yards. In addition to the light and noise pollution, an entrance to this new warehouse would be right off of Ironwood Avenue, directly across from these same homes. I'm also concerned about the data collection efforts that were presented in the agenda packet. The vehicle traffic studies were done during a pandemic and collected during 2 extended lockdowns that significantly decreased residential traffic flow. But even during a pandemic, just think of the truck queue on the 215 freeway and Cactus exit, and then transpose that on the shorter distance between the 60 freeway and Heacock exits. This highway exit does not have an adequate right turn lane from the West 60 ramp on the westbound side. And on the eastbound side, the trucks must go under the 60 Heacock Bridge and compete with the very trucks exiting off the westbound side. My final comment is a question directed to all of us. Would you live directly across from a mega 220,000 square foot warehouse? Would you buy a home in this existing residential area once this warehouse is built? In consideration of these factors, I request you deny this change to the city's general plan and the festival specific plan. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Carrie. May we have the next speaker, please?
Yes, I'd like to call upon Jan Dupardo. Her last four of her telephone is 8469. If we can unmute her, please.
She can go ahead. You'll have to hit star
Jan.
6.
Yes, as a reminder to the caller, it's *6 to unmute on the telephone. Please press *6 to unmute yourself on the telephone. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
All right, thank you. Again, Jan Zapardo. We've had a business in the immediate vicinity for over 45 years and a business in Moreno Valley since 1960. And I would like to say that I'm happy to see this development coming on the southeast corner of Ironwood and Heacock. For the longest time, it's been a haven for homeless, weeds, trees, floods, and blight. This use, in my opinion, is a great project and much better than it could have been 20 years ago because it remained stagnant for years. And the mere fact that it has a lot of flexibility is attractive for tenants. It's nice to see some life in there and something new. And I've been the victim of the homeless in there for a long time, and it's a big chore in that whole area, and it's gotten less and less since the development has come. So due to this late hour, I just would want to say that I support the project, and I would urge the Planning Commission to approve it.
Thank you, Jan. May we have the next speaker, please?
Yes, up next I have Raul Sanchez.
Okay. Raul, whenever you're ready.
Raul, go ahead, and if you can, accept the unmute. If you're on a phone, Raul, if you can go ahead and push *6, and you can go ahead. Seems we're having issues with Mr. Sanchez.
I agree. Madam Chair, maybe we can come back to him after the following speaker. We do have quite a few signed up.
Okay, let's continue and we'll go back. Absolutely.
Okay, I'm going to move on to Jason Baez.
Okay, Jason, if you would like to start.
Yes, can you hear me, Honorable Council?
Yes, we can.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Greetings, Honorable Council. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Jason Baez, and I'm a member of Labor's International Union of North America, and I am in full support of this project. It was a project similar to this one that gave me the opportunity to join my union and our apprenticeship school, where I learned many valuable skills and obtained many certifications that have carried with me throughout the years, as well as on-the-job training that is part of our union culture. I used to work non-union for low wages and no benefits, and it never allowed me to move my wife and children out of the terrible neighborhood that we grew up in. But once a project like this one gave me the opportunity to join, I began to experience what it's like to have full medical coverage for me and my family. With fair wages I received, I was able to move out of that neighborhood and change the lives of my children for the better. Since that time, I went on to own my first home, then also a bakery. Then I sold both, and now I own 3 houses on a lot for my hard work in the field. Not only does a project like this open doors for the people of our community, like myself, but it also establishes lifelines that continue on long into the future. Because this is where we establish relations with new contractors, new foremen, bonds with other workers, which assist us in getting on future projects. And further, when we complete this project, it will be a well of opportunity for young people who are trying to enter into the workforce, along with a whole list of different types of people who need a job right now in these trying times. You mentioned homelessness. If we don't get some jobs out here in the Moreno Valley soon, we're going to experience that list getting longer. The applicant has graciously agreed to utilize union labor so we can be sure that the laws will be abided by, workers will be paid the appropriate wage, and the project itself will be built American strong. Honorable Council, there is no doubting that each of you is a brother and sister to the Moreno Valley. Now, please ask yourself, is this not an excellent opportunity at this very particular time for our community? Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak, and God bless you all.
Thank you, Jason. May we have the next speaker, please?
All right, do we want to call again upon Raul Sanchez?
Sure. Is he ready? Raul, can you hear us?
Looks like we have him unmuted.
Okay, that's good.
Mr. Sanchez, can you hear us? Okay, possibly not. Maybe I'll save him for the end,
Okay,
just to be sure.
we can keep
Okay.
trying. Okay, let's have the next speaker.
I'm going to call upon Eddie Rivera.
Okay, Eddie, when you're ready, you may begin.
Good evening, commissioners. My name is Eddie Rivera. I am a member of the Laborers International Union of North America. As a construction worker who gets opportunities in construction projects, we start, but it must end. We move to the next. You never know where it could be. Spending a lot of time in the Los Angeles and Orange County areas. When I reside in South Corona, unincorporated area of Riverside County, I would much rather drive over the 74 highway to Moreno Valley compared to the Orange County or LA traffic. So the ability to work close to home is vital to those in the construction field, given that we're moving from job to job to job constantly. In these tough economic times and unemployment numbers being as high as they are, going back as far as the Great Depression, is exactly why we need this project right here, right now. This project will invest in the local community and will deliver countless high quality construction jobs that provide good wages. Here right now in the local community and our local union members stand ready to build. This project not only makes sense, but it will also help our local economy at this crucial time. For these reasons, I strongly support this project, and I certainly hope that all of you commissioners can stand with us and the community and support it as well. Thank you for speaking. You guys have a good evening, and thank you for consideration.
Thank you, Eddie. May we have the next speaker, please?
Yes, we're going to call upon Thomas Davis.
Thomas, when you're ready, you may begin.
Can you hear me right now?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Okay. Hello, everyone. How are you doing? I'm Thomas Davis, and I represent the city of Moreno Valley and the project that you have up there on Ironwood and Heacock. First of all, I really would like to say that we are blessed to have a company like Lido Capital Group come in and invest into our city, especially during these pandemic times right now. And I do applaud the people that mentioned the homeless and the jobs, because it's one of the most biggest parts of the future of Louisiana, of Moreno Valley right now. So I like to applaud those people. It's definitely needed in the city. And I think this will eliminate the taxation and bring a lot of value to our city, because all of the homelessness and everything that's going on over there. So I really do hope you guys vote yes for the future and the goodness of the city, because that's what it is. And I hope no one really perverts the goodness of what's going on, because I see that place every day, and it is lifeless over there. So kudos to Mr. Ryan Martin, guaranteed on that. And I also think that this will definitely, it would definitely eliminate taxation and create some tax revenue. So I also really, really, really hope that you guys will vote yes for this right here. God bless you guys, and thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you, Thomas. And we have the next speaker, please.
Yes, I'm going to call upon Jose Garcia. He's the telephone number ending in 4304.
You can go ahead.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. You may
Yes,
begin.
good evening, honorable members of the Planning Commission. My name is Jose Garcia. I'm a member of the Labor's International Union of North America. I have been for the past 33 years. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. La Una fully supports this project. We should support projects that utilize highly skilled union trades, and La Una is proud to be building this project, if approved. This developer is devoted to working safely and paying mortgage-paying wages with benefits. This developer has built almost 450,000 square feet of adjacent building right here with union labor. These jobs will give our local members work close to home, keeping them off the highway with long commutes and improving their quality of life and that of their families. When our members can work close to home, they can be more active in the local community, giving back to youth sports programs and local organizations. And also, we have opened doors for opportunities of the community that have lost their jobs in retail and in other sectors that are hurting right now due to these pandemic times. So we are always recruiting new people, bringing in people, creating new jobs. And as one of the commissioners has been mentioning, that it has been a blight area. It's run over with homelessness. And when you bring the pride, a good project in, and a good developer such as the one we have here, it's a win-win situation. Because like they said, it becomes an active place in the community, and the homeless tend to go other places. Another reason I heard that there is a lot of space available. Well, you guys are becoming a hub. You might be able to rent these spaces out at your price and bring more trails, more parks to this community. For that reason, we stand fully in support of this project and hope that you do as well. Thank you very much and have a good night.
Thank you, Jose. May we have the next speaker, please?
Okay.
The next speaker I have is Andrea Vasquez. I don't see her number up on our screen, but I'm possibly going to assume that maybe it's Drea Promotions. If we can try out that caller and unmute them.
Hi, can everybody hear me?
Yes, if you have a device that's streaming the meeting, go ahead and please turn that off. Thank you.
Hello?
Once
Okay,
again, if
everyone hear me now? I'm so sorry. I'm new to this. I would actually like to thank everybody that's on this call for coming in and listening to what Mr. Ryan has been, offering to our city and to the community. And I highly, highly give, my thumbs up. I fully support this proposal to the community because I've seen lately that our city needs help. And if we are ready to move this process ahead, I think it's going to be great for everybody to collaborate and bring more businesses to the table. And, it's a great thing that we have someone that is building for us and that has, is giving us the potential to move ahead, it's kind of sad for me to hear that one is opposing to this proposal. And with all due respect, I think we as a community need to come together and put our 100% to this because, I want to see everybody grow. I want the community, families to come together and have something for our future. Our kids are our future. So I support this project 100% and let's just go for it. Why are we just going to pose on something that is holding everybody back? So I give my support 100% and I hope everybody sees the same. And I hope everybody has a great evening.
Thank you, Andrea. May we have the next speaker, please?
Yes, the next person I have to speak is Brandon Garrity. Unfortunately, I don't see his phone number in the attendees queue. Bob or Tim, if you could please remind them how to raise their virtual hand. Perhaps it's maybe one of the callers that are in here. I only don't recognize number 9743. That's the only number I don't have on my screen for speakers.
To raise your hand if you're on the phone, I believe it is *9. I don't see any hands being raised, Ashley.
I don't either. Let's go ahead and move on then to Marissa Cuno. That's another number I don't see in our queue. So again, if you could raise your virtual hand by in the Zoom application or by pressing *9. Again, that was Marissa. Okay, and I don't see anything on there either. So I'm going to move along to Mr. Tom Jarrell. He's the number ending in 2875.
If you can go ahead and hit *6 to unmute yourself.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can. You can begin, Tom.
Hi, Tom Jarrell, local resident for many years, and Chair Corsack and commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity to speak on this project here. As I said, I've lived in Moreno Valley since 1981. In fact, an interesting little anecdotal thing, if you go back to about it was right after we incorporated in the mid 80s, this was supposed to be the big master project for all of Moreno Valley. And then we were coming along pretty good until the big recession of the 1990s, which really went almost 10 years, and a lot of things languished, this area being one of them. And it's never really come back until recently. So I want to thank the developers for bringing a really, good shot in the arm economically. It's created, it's going to create a tax base, going to create jobs, going to create revenues. Any growth process is going to bring challenges with it. But from what I can see, they're doing a high quality project. They're bringing some really neat things. When I spoke to Mr. Martin, you know, he was very candid about, you know, the trade-offs and the reality of doing business in the world we live in right now, especially with the big curve we've been thrown in the last year with the COVID. It's something completely unseen, and you know, it's flipped the whole world's society here. So it certainly affected us in many ways. So we're actually quite fortunate to get I was really surprised to see a project of this magnitude moving forward, this quality, and so I'm excited to see it happening. I drive past there often. I know the area. In fact, many times I make my calls from right across the street. I went to another location tonight to get a good reception, but so I know the area very well, and I'll be glad to see it, you know, get in the ground and get going. And it looks like they're doing a quality project. I'm really happy to see the labor support for it. I was a union carpenter for almost 10 years before I moved to Moreno Valley, and so I got a lot of respect for the trade people work with their tools. So I wish them good stead and go forward, and hope it brings a lot of not just jobs, but tax revenues and prestige, and helps clean up a lot of social issues in that area there. I manage a center right around the corner, and I know the problems of commercial real estate in today's market, and there are many. So it's good to see a good shot in the arm like this. So I thank you for the opportunity to speak to it.
Thank you. Everyone have a speaker.
Next speaker I have is Britney Goodrich. And actually, I don't see her in our queue here.
Ashley, we have a hand raised. All the number says is call-in user 1.
Call-in user, yes. Okay, let's unmute and see if that's Miss Goodrich.
Caller, go ahead if you want to hit *6 to unmute yourself.
Hi, hello, this is Britney Goodrich.
Hello, Brittany. You can begin.
Okay, awesome, amazing. I just want to thank the honorable commissioners as well as the management for this project, giving Moreno Valley the opportunity. I've lived here since I've been in preschool. I was also the homecoming queen of Canyon Springs of 2011. So, you know, we all had all the restaurants and everyone come to support our volleyball games, our track games, and everything else. So business is something that we definitely need to flourish. I also majored in communications and business, and we had business programs since I was a sophomore in high school. So I understand what needs to go on and what also needs to further grow our city, such as Skechers Warehouse, such as, you know, mention the 40% vacancy in our mall that's empty. We need to implement a growing society and teach our children. I'm 28 now. I was a child in Moreno Valley. We need to show them that everything is possible. We have NBA stars coming from here. I myself am a SAG actress. I went on after college to do the movie A Star Was Born, and development is something that we need to see possible to give society hope. We have several other actresses and great things coming from Moreno Valley. I think this could only add to that list. I was also a conservationist for many years for the California Conservation Corps. I've built trails and many other projects in California. I understand that, you know, development of land is also important. So this is a project that me, myself, as a fellow person that cares about our land and the irrigation that's going on, this is something that can only add to society to help us to properly be able to fund more projects to build trails and, you know, other natural things that Moreno Valley is needing. So I am in support of this project, and I just want to thank everyone for supporting each other, for listening and being on this call. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brittany. May we have the next speaker, please?
Yes, next speaker is going to be Letitia Sims. I apologize.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Letitia. Go right ahead. It's
I
starting.
am. So greetings, Commissioner, and thank you to everyone who joined the call. I just want to say I'm in full support of this project as a home and business owner of Moreno Valley. This will provide jobs for people. This will also increase the property tax revenue and taxes. This will be a wonderful thing to keep Moreno Valley on track as we continue to grow as a community. I'm in full support of this project, and that's all I want to say. I'm in full support.
Thank you, Letitia. May we have the next speaker, please?
I want short so I want to talk.
Okay, next speaker we have is Luis Palomares. Okay. She's the telephone number ending in 0712. I do believe she is on a landline, possibly. I believe *6 would be to unmute yourself.
Hello, Luis Palomares, community activist.
Yes, we can hear you. Go right ahead, Luis.
Okay. Wow, this is a plus for our community. I've lived here for 32 years, and that place has always been, never really took off. And this is great. It was all retail at one point, so it just never worked like that. Just like our mall never really took off. So I think this is a plus because it's mixed. It has a little bit of retail. It's going to have a hotel. It's going to have Sprouts. It's going to have these buildings that are bringing more jobs and revenue, tax revenue to our city. I mean, we can't miss out on this. This is a great project. And, it's going to do away with the homeless there. I mean, hopefully, we could do away with it all together one day here in Moreno Valley. But, wow, I think it's a great thing for our city. I support it 100%. We had a lot of great speakers that support the project. So, and, it's a good thing coming to Moreno Valley for us. So I'm all on board. I'm for it, 110%. Go. I hope the commissioners vote on this tonight and open the doors for it to come on in and do finish the completion of the project. Also, I got to give the commissioners, kudos. I mean, they're doing a great job for our city. They've done a lot of projects and a lot of things are coming to our city. Thank you. Thank you so much, commissioners. You're doing a great job. I really appreciate all your time, energy, and effort that you're, going the extra mile to take care of our city and things that are going on here for us. So I'll let you go. And I believe Bob's going to speak after me on the same line. So I guess I can leave it up to him next on his 3 minutes. Thank you again and have a good evening.
Okay, thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Yes, she is right. Our next speaker is Mr. Palomares. That is Robert Palomares.
That's very convenient. Very good. Making it easy for us. Thank you, Robert.
Do you have his phone number? I'm not seeing him in the queue.
Oh, wasn't he?
Sorry, it's the same phone number that she was on, the 0712.
Okay, Mr. Palomares, go ahead if you can hit *6 and then you can go ahead and talk.
I do apologize. Mr. Gutierrez, if you could please mute yourself.
*6. Go ahead, Mr. Palomares, we can hear you. Oop, lost you. *6 if you can. Try one more time, please. We got you now.
Okay, good evening, commissioners. I got to give it to you this time. We've got a great project in front of you, and you and the city staff have always done a good job. Always gone over everything, make sure everything's good, and I'm kind of excited about this project because we've always had to put up with that for years and years, that area. I mean, I know the gentleman, the developer, was saying that it was a dead area, but actually it was more than that. It was very depressing. If you drove through there, you'd get depressed. And this was for over 20 years. So now we have something great. And plus the jobs for the unions, you know, the city has done great for the unions. And like Tom Gerald said, this is just a plus for us. And Mr. Bias also. You know, we've had some wonderful speakers that, and you know, the homeless were, if you went to the Ironwood and where the liquor store is in the 99-cent store, if you went there in the morning on any day prior to then, I would sit there, read the newspaper and drink my coffee, and you could see the homeless out of those lots. So to see this go up, and it's a beautiful project, Clifford did a wonderful job on his presentation. So this is something that it's exciting for me. Honestly, it's really exciting because it has been run down for years and years. So I hope you approve it. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Robert. May we have the next speaker, please?
Yes, I have our last speaker that signed up to speak, which I'm going to repeat, Mr. Raul Sanchez. Hopefully we can get him on the line. Mr. Sanchez, if you're calling in from a landline, if you could hit *6 to unmute yourself.
Looks like you're unmuted. Go ahead, Mr.
All right.
Sanchez. Mr. Sanchez, you're unmuted. Can you hear us? We seem to be having an issue, we can't hear Mr. Sanchez.
Yeah, I don't have I don't have any other speakers after him. He was our last one.
You've tried 3 times already, haven't we?
Yes.
I think we probably can't belabor this. We've tried 3 times. Perhaps he is shy and really doesn't want to speak. I don't know. But after 3 attempts, I think we need to move this forward. So with that, I'm going to ask if the applicant would like to speak again or address us, the commission, or any of the comments that were made by the speakers at this time before we close the public hearing.
You know, I just like to thank everybody. You know, the couple of the comments that were made were thanking the planning staff. And again, I think you guys have obviously done a great job. It took a lot of vision. I would say working with the city staff has been a phenomenal experience. You know, from that right on top, Mike Lee, all the way down, all of your planning staff, Julia, Sean, it used to be Chris Ormsby. I could go on down the list, but you have a wonderful people. I'm not just saying that because we have the good fortune to work in a lot of municipalities, but you have a phenomenal group there, and they really do care about the city. That's the biggest thing. So they're trying to do right by the city, and that's what we're trying to do. Trying to create something special that's lasting. So appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And with that, we will now close the public hearing and we will move on to deliberations. I know the commissioners are just dying to get saying. So let's do it by roll call, please. Stop laughing, Mr. Bergaris.
Am I first?
And the first,
I'll wait till you
yes,
get.
sir.
Thank you, ma'am. I want to thank the speakers. I want to thank Ms. Thin. I want to thank the 5 emails that were sent to each and one of us. I read them and read them carefully. And I took them all to heart. When I went to look at the project one more time this afternoon, I took all your comments, everything with me. And I sat across the street at Rite Aid for half an hour. And I looked at everything that you wrote and said. And I looked at the building, I looked at the height, I looked at everything. I drove up and down that street. I even went down Davis to look at it from across the street. I did everything that I could. And I went back to Rite Aid and I sat there again. And after a while, I went home with a heavy heart because it was something that I needed to do something tonight with. But I'm grateful. I'm grateful for Biden, President-elect Biden. He gave a 26-minute speech today about unity, about having the American person, the American citizen, go back to work and to get off unemployment, to start collecting social services, to find a permanent job somewhere. He lifted my heart from the heavy burden because he's going to be my president in 7 days from now. I'm independent, so I'm not Democrat, I'm not Republican, I'm independent, so I have to think independent. I'm an independent thinker. I got to think about everything and everybody. But he helped me today. He helped me to understand that when we have an opportunity, that we need to grab it and move forward with it. And I understand the size of this project being on that corner, because I believe that Heacock, Ironwood, and the rest of the district, it's monumental to me. It's historic to me. And I understand that. So believe me, I had a heavy heart when I went home after sitting there for a while. But today, I'm grateful for Mr. Martin, who brought us back to the past and was able to bring me back into the future, what this project looked like when it was in its haven days, and then how it fell apart and it got forgotten. And many thousand of us that live in the city of Moreno Valley know what I'm talking about when something's forgotten. This place was forgotten. And I remember when he came to the Planning Commission years back, and I was just a supporter of projects. And I supported him in his project. And to see what he's done in the last several years with that project is an amazing achievement. He proved to me and also LCG that they can keep their promise in building things that can last a long time and bring some beautification to an area. See, he proved that to me because I saw it for myself and I heard it again today. So I know that this building that they're going to put on the corner is going to be good because it's going to be built well, not only to last for a long time, but to bring jobs, true jobs, where people can get off unemployment and find something permanent to be able to work for 40 hours. You got to listen to Biden's speech for 26 minutes that he gave today. And you understand how I feel right now when I speak to you in the city. It's important to understand that unity and having Americans go back to work full time to be able to find a salary, medical, and a pension. I'm also glad to hear that Mr. Martin and his staff selected the union to be able to be part of their development. because I understand as an ex-union worker myself, how important it is to have benefits, at least medical and a pension. Sometimes you work for $15, $20, $25. Sometimes the money is not very important when you get older, like myself, after 30 years of working. It's the benefits and the medical that work the most when you're retired. That is what lasts for a lifetime. It's your benefits. And everybody that has a job today understands when they have benefits. The pay is great, but when you retire, you rely on your benefits. And that's what this company, this organization is allowed the Teamsters, the union, to be able to complete this job. And I'm glad that I was able to hear the message from Mr. Biden, because it's going to help me to decide what I'm going to do tonight, because I got to think about people that are not working. I got to think about the district. I got to think about everything that was said today. So I'm grateful for everything that I've heard. So I'm going to support this project because I truly know, not only will it provide jobs, but it will bring hope, like the president-elect is trying to do next week. When he gets sworn in, his promise is to bring hope and unity. Thank you.
Commissioner Stefan? Just a moment, Commissioner Stefan, while we get you unmuted.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, I've driven by the buildings. I live about a half a mile from the buildings themselves, and I go by there quite often to pick up prescriptions at Walgreens. I usually use Ironwood or I use Hemlock. I was on the fence about this being another large building going on in that corner, but after seeing the presentation that Mr. Martin presented and gave me the whole dynamics of that center is going to be, where it will be mixed use, and then they've got other things going in on that side, and he's going to actually demolish that little strip mall, which I did not know. And so it'll just be one huge master plan. I can see a lot of benefits. He's already got tenants for all the buildings except for this one. And I'm sure, like he says, there'll be one coming in. There is a business across the street. The lady's been here since, she said, for many years, and she's totally for it. There's other people that I've talked to that were for it. And I was actually surprised because when I first saw it going up, I actually was kind of, I'll be honest, I wasn't a big fan. But now I see the total picture. I can see it, and I hope a lot of people out there saw the presentation, saw everything that's going to be going in there, and it is just pieces of the puzzle that are actually coming together. He's right when he says that a lot of the shopping centers are vacant. You know, this is going to be something that's going to be up and running and have things happening there. It's not going to just stay vacant. I know it's going to create a lot of jobs. I just think it's a win-win for the city, like I said, and I myself now am totally for the project, and I wasn't for the project. In my own mind, I had to be kind of like convinced and see everything. And like I said, I just hope everybody out there that didn't want the project to come in saw the presentation, saw everything, and got a grasp of just how wonderful this project actually is. Everybody wants something, but at what price? You know, the reality is everybody is buying online. groceries are being brought to the house, they're dropping off things. I mean, the whole dynamics of everything is changing in the world, and we have to change with it. And that's just reality. So, like I said, I'm a fan of the project, and I think it's going to be a great asset for the city and actually for that area, because it's been in bad shape for a long time. And seeing this, I'm actually excited about it. And I don't get excited too often about many things, but I am actually very excited after hearing what he had to say and all these things that are coming in. Even the that one poor little place there next to the IHOP, it's even getting a transformation. They're not going to leave it like that. So basically, the whole place is just going to be a nice place to go to. And and like I said, I'm really excited about the whole place there. So I'm going to vote for this.
Thank you.
Commissioner Harris?
Yes. Well, when you look back and you see all the blight and the homelessness and just the dirt and everything and the weeds for years and years, well, decades. And I think there's an opportunity if you look at packet page 1008. It gives you this beautiful picture of what the corner is going to look like. I love that. And so going to keep it short, and I will be voting for this project.
Commissioner DeJournette?
Thank you. Well, again, without sounding redundant, but definitely just thank everybody from coming out, from Carrie to Jason and Jose and Brittany and Luis and Thomas and Andrea and Jose and Brandon, and you guys made some very wonderful points. And I really want to thank Ryan. You really laid it out really well. I'd sit in a lot of these meetings, but the way you laid it out was just absolutely beautiful. I'm a proponent. I've been in the city now since, oh gosh, I hate to say it out loud, 1970. It's been over 50 years for me. So I've been around for a long time. And I've watched Moreno Valley change. And I often have to do, in leadership roles, I have to talk to people about change. And we recommend several books and say, hey, change is going to happen. The change can be scary, and growth can be scary. I know there's few or there's those out there that don't want to see change, or they don't want to see certain things. And but I put it to just everybody: if there is that empty lot out there in Moreno Valley or empty field, something is going to go there. It's not going to stay empty. When I looked at the project, especially referring back to Raphael, when I looked at this, I was like, wow, look at everything that can go in there. And Ryan did say the same thing, from tire stores to jewelry stores to medical offices, fast food. I just said, wow, that's fantastic. I know sometimes we see it as a big, large building, and we may think warehouse, but all the mixed uses that can go in there. And I remember once looking at this project and seeing how that is gonna all come together, and it looks like that is one of the areas that you see off the 60 freeway. And when you see, if we get that area off the 60 freeway, when you look over to the right-hand side and you see Floor and Decor and all that, and you get that area thriving, it will help the city also, because again, that's one of the most visible areas that you do see coming when you're traveling east to west on the 60 freeway. So kudos, Mr. Ryan, absolutely wonderful. Like I said, I've been around for 50 years and I've watched that center I remember when that Edwards Theater was struggling and turned into a dollar theater, and then it struggled. And I remember even going to that club one time. So absolutely, I also plan to vote for the project. So great job.
Commissioner Sims.
I want to congratulate you, Mr. Martin. It looks like you already have four of the 7, so that's good. So I also want to thank all the folks that called in and participated in this decision-making process. So that's what makes Moreno Valley get better. So I do plan to kind of let the cat out of the bag first. Yes, I do plan to vote in favor of the project. I do think that the project is good. I used to like going to the home base, and I wish it was sad when it went away, but anyhow, that's it. But times have changed, and I think it's appropriate for the specific plan amendment and the general plan amendment to roll forward to get current and eliminate the blight that's in the area. But having said all that, I do want to, won't be as long as some of our commissioners, but I do want to kind of go through a little bit about a concern I do have about locations of logistics in proximity to residential. I think that existing residential development that's been there for decades the people should have a reasonable expectation for the use and the character of their residential development as they bought it. And I think that that's only fair. And there are eminent domain laws and stuff like that, but that's generally for very restrictive and minimal things. And I'm not saying that's indeed the case here. But I think the city and us as planning commissioners should take and be very cognizant of existing land uses in proximity where we do approve general plan amendment, specific plan amendments. This is very close to residential. I think that the city has over the years has done significant amount of warehouse land use approvals, but I think for the most part, those approvals have been kind of in the spots where there hasn't been residential. Case in point, the center point or whatever the old specific plan that was done in the 80s on the land generally between Heacock all the way to the 215 freeway between Alessandro and Cactus. That was all originally planned to be industrial business park, and it is now coming to fruition. It's also adjacent to the airport or the March Air Reserve Base, Joint Powers land uses. You look at the lands along Paris from Iris going to the south to Paris to the city of Paris between Paris Boulevard and the March Air Reserve Base. Those are all within specific plans that have been approved for decades. And there's very little residential interface in there. Very appropriate for that type of use, the logistics warehouse type stuff. You look at the World Logistics Center or the stuff along by the Auto Center along the 90 or the 60 freeway. It's next to a high traffic, high volume land use or use that. And there was in the World Logistics. There's a significant separation with landscape if and when that ever gets built. Along Redlands Boulevard, there's a mounded, if I recall, there's supposed to be a 15-foot mound that's a landscape and I think Staff Keller mentioned that there will be at least a 250-foot separation from the center line of the street going to the east before the building. I think that's highly, highly important, specifically in a rural neighborhood where there's half-acre developments and such out in that area. It's being somewhat respectful to these people that have been living out there in their residential land uses. So I want to get that out. I think the city has done a pretty good job. This right here is a little bit of a round, square peg going into a round hole because we are interfacing with residential directly to the north of this property. I would have liked to have seen it more than 150 feet, more like 250 or 300 feet from the interface of the building to the property line of the residential. But I do think there are overriding factors here. One is that both Ironwood and Heacock are high volume, high traffic, I believe 2 lane in each direction roads in this proximity. I think that the truck loading, that as they have it designed, the truck load on and offs are in the back of the buildings, kind of concentrated between the buildings and Davis Street, so that you'll have some noise attenuation and that movement won't be as noticeable. And I think that that there is a change in economy and how people do commerce. And so you do see these boxes going in, whether we like it or not. We don't like the trucks and all that associated thing, but it is close to the freeway. It is close to on and off. And so anyhow, I think it's the benefits outweigh and the residents that are adjacent to that on the north. I think that they're going to have something better than the blight that's been in that corner. So anyhow, that's my 2 cents on that.
Vice Chairperson Baker.
On this project here, this district's a big part of our general plan that 3 of us on this committee is working on. So I like the project. It really cleans up that corner, and it's taken, and I think we need to applaud Brian Martin for putting this thing together. It's not easy. So I'm in favor of it. I think it's a good project, and we'll move forward with it.
Thank you.
Okay.
And Chairperson Corsick.
Well, when you go last, it's all been said before you. What can I say? I'm very impressed with the overall plan of this, the thought that went into the multi-uses. I think if every development could be that way, they would be a lot more successful. I absolutely love the color scheme. Sorry, Commissioner Vergara. I personally like freshening up our buildings, making them white. That has beautiful accents. I think it gives us a lift in our spirit, in our community. It's something new. And I totally wish a whole plane could just drop white paint over everything and freshen up our whole landscape here. But I commend your wife for coming up with that color scheme. It gives us something different and fresh and new, and it makes us feel positive about who we are. With that, I don't have much more to say. We've belabored a lot of this, and I definitely am in favor of the project. So with that, I guess we could see if we have a motion from anyone to take a vote. Would anyone like to motion? Raise your hand.
Commissioner Sims would like to make a motion.
I'd like to make a motion that the Planning Commission approve or adopt resolution 2020-01, that we adopt resolution number 2021-02, and that we also adopt resolution number 2021-03, and also resolution number 2021-04.
Maybe we have a second.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Okay, with that, let's do a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Bugaris? I'm sorry, Commissioner Bugaris, let's get you unmuted.
There you go. Yes, Ashley.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Stefan?
Yes.
Commissioner Harris?
Yes.
Commissioner DeJournette?
Yes.
Commissioner Sims?
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Baker?
Yes.
Chairperson Corsick?
Yes. So the motion carries. It's unanimous. May we have a staff wrap up, please?
Yes, Madam Chair. The recommendations of the Planning Commission on this item will be carried forward to the City Council for their consideration and final action. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We spent several hours on this and heard a lot of speakers. So I'm going to just take a call for a 10-minute recess for us to stretch our legs so that when we come back, we can approach the next item with a very fresh look. So let's all come back at about 9:25, okay? The final item on our agenda for tonight is item number 2, a conditional use permit for a liquor store. Can we have the staff report, please?
Madam Chair, Senior Planner Sean Kelleher will present this item.
Thank you.
Sean? Once he's unmuted, he will present the item.
You guys couldn't hear me? Sorry about that. They didn't have my presentation ready yet, so I was holding off to give them a chance to catch up. Thank you, Honorable Chair and members of the Commission. Sean Kelleher, Senior Planner. The project before you this evening is a conditional use permit for the relocation of Duke's Liquor Store. Next slide, please. Duke's Liquor Store has a Type 21 off-sale general license currently. This allows them to sell beer, wine, and spirits, and currently operates at 25073 Sunnymead Boulevard, which is shown on our map as the existing location. The applicant is proposing to relocate to 25045 Sunnymead Boulevard and maintain their Type 21 license. Both of these locations are within the Butterfield Valley Village Shopping Center. Next slide, please. The project site is located within the Sunnymead Village Specific Plan, Community Commercial Land Use District. The proposed liquor store is a conditionally permitted use within this district. Next slide, please. The proposed liquor store will be approximately 3,000 square feet in size, with a minimum of 1,032 square feet dedicated to sales area. I would note that in the staff report summary, we did identify the sales area square footage with the 1,032, not the overall building size. One of the conditions of approval I would like to highlight with regards to this application is that it requires the property owner and the applicant to surrender the existing conditional use permit, pen 16-0164, for the existing Duke Liquors location site. This will ensure that we only have, we will not have multiple liquor licenses within this shopping center, or you know, we aren't adding just an additional license. Next slide, please. Here we have pictures of the existing building. The applicant is not proposing any exterior modifications, so it will remain as you see it today. Next slide, please. Proposed project, as designed and conditioned, complies with the city standards within the municipal code. Therefore, staff recommends the Planning Commission approve Resolution 2021-05, certifying that the project is categorically exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act, and approve planning case PEN 20-0194, subject to the conditions of approval. This concludes my presentation. I'm available. I and the applicant are both available for any questions. Thank you.
Are there any commissioner questions for staff?
Commissioner Harris?
Yes, I just wanted to ask Sean if this location, is this a spot where there was a Bank of America at one time? Or
I'm sorry, I don't know what the previous use was within this building. I understand it's been vacant for some time now.
Okay, I think it was. Okay.
I have a question, Sean. Does the applicant need to reapply for that liquor license, or does it automatically move with them?
They can carry it with them. They will have to do some paperwork through alcohol beverage control, but ultimately they will carry that same license with them from one site to the other.
Okay, thanks. Anyone else?
I don't see anybody else's hands raised, Madam Chair.
Okay, great. Let's see. Would the applicant like to speak at this time?
Yes, let's get him unmuted. Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, am I allowed to speak now?
Oh, yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Oh, okay. Okay, I just want to answer the question if it was Bank of America at one point. Yes, it was a Bank of America about 25 years ago or even more, yeah. At the time, yeah, it was, yeah. Actually, we are, I just want to take opportunity to talk about my business that we've been in our existing location for about a little bit over like 22 years, 22 years now. And we've been through a hard time and we survived, thank God. But we take the opportunity now that we've been doing business actually all over those years. We never have no problems, like we never have no like minor sale, illegal sale, alcohol or tobacco. No one ticket over all these years. We've been providing the neighborhood excellent service. We actually take the opportunity now that that space is vacant and we would like to move there. It will be benefit us as we do some little upgrade for our business to upgrade as it will be like newer style, 25 years old business with newer upgraded equipment. Everything will be as new business. And we will try our best to still provide our community in Moreno Valley here the best business service that we can. That's it. I mean, it will be a good opportunity for us to upgrade and improve our business here in Moreno Valley. Thank you.
Thank you. Do the commissioners have any questions of the applicant? I don't see anyone.
I don't believe I see any hands raised.
All right, then at this time, we'll now open public testimony. The clerk will call upon each person who is on the Zoom app that has requested to speak. Each member of the public wishing to speak will have a maximum of 3 minutes to speak on this agenda item. Do we have any public comments?
No, Madam Chair, I didn't have anybody signed up to speak on the item.
Okay. All right, the last chance applicant or staff, would you like to say anything else on the project before we go into deliberations? Apparently not. So at this time, we're going to move on to deliberations. And let's do this by roll call, please.
Commissioner Rivera?
Yes, ma'am. I was glad to be able to go over to the address because I couldn't remember if I was there once, but due to my surprise, I did. I was there a few years back supporting his first proposal. And I was able to go inside and see him again and be able to smile with him because I went over to the other building that he wanted to move his business to. And I got out of my truck and I got to the window and I peeked inside and I saw how humongous, how spacious the word is, this building will be for him. So anyway, I went back to him and we started to laugh because I looked at the small place that he's in now, moving over to the bigger building. And I asked him, are you ready for this? Are you ready to move to the bigger building? And he said, yes, because he was excited to be able to, like he said, to expand some of the things that he would like to do besides the sodas, the beverages, and the alcohol that he has a permit for, but to do other grocery stuff, things that he enjoys doing in his business. And you know, and we smile about the whole thing, but I'm very proud of him and his success of being in the same place for 22 years and obeying the law of Moreno Valley and looking out for the minors, not doing things illegal just to make a buck, you know. And I'm glad that he's able to speak to us and have that that gleam on his face of being honest to us. And that's very important when you're dealing with alcohol and cigarettes, and minors that come into a store to buy sodas and cake and things like that. So I'm happy that he decided to stay in Moreno Valley, hopefully for another 25 more years. It used to be, like he mentioned, a bank. I remember it as a clothing store before it closed. I've never seen it as a bank, but I remember it as a clothing store. So, but I'm happy for him because he's going to be a great entrepreneur. He's going to be able to capture the corner on Paris Boulevard, competing with everything that's there, the gas station, across the street in the shopping center. You got Sizzlers, you got the freeway, you got Bananas right next door. So that's not going nowhere, but he's able to compete at another scale. And I'm hoping that, God willing, like he mentioned, he'll continue to be successful to our community and to his family. And good luck, sir. It's been a pleasure seeing you again.
Thank you very much.
Commissioner Stefan? Not quite unmuted, Commissioner Stefan.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah, I know the area very well. Yeah, I actually know it when it was a clothing store also. And even if it is a liquor store and he wants to expand to do a little other things, I'm really elated that somebody in the city can actually move and expand and move to a better area maybe, and where he sees opportunity, because in these times, a lot of times we don't see opportunity. And I think it's a nice little clean area. And I really give him props for even wanting to expand. Because some owners, they get stuck in the same, for 20 some years, he's been operating, doing good business. But if he can see an opportunity to expand, I think it's really a nice thing. So I think it's a great thing that he's doing. I wish other business owners could do the same thing, because a lot of them, have had to close down, and I think it's a fine thing. And like I said, we don't need another empty building like that. So I think it's a good thing.
Commissioner Harris? If we could please unmute Commissioner Harris. Thank you, sir.
I was just wondering about Cardenas, the market there. Do they sell alcohol there? Maybe they just have beer and wine. I don't know, or maybe they don't have anything. I don't know. Do you know, sir?
Yeah. Well, Cardenas as a supermarket, they do sell, but as a supermarket, they have a different, they don't carry what I carry as the quantity, as variety, as sizes. Cardenas as a market, they sell only big sizes as a market. They don't carry what I carry.
Okay.
They do sell. They do have hard liquor section, small section, a lot smaller than a liquor store, and the sizes of the bottles that they sell is bigger size than a liquor store, or yeah.
So they won't be some kind of huge competition for you then?
Is actually not huge competition. Actually, Cardenas came to the city not very long ago. I know. Yeah, Cardenas. we've been in our location a lot longer than Cardenas actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, it used to be furniture store, and then Cardenas came at the time when Target used to be at the other corner here. So we see it all here. Yeah, we've been survived for a long time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Commissioner DeJournette?
No questions at this time. Thank you.
Commissioner Sims?
I like to congratulate you on investing in yourself and in the city and doing that in the city of Moreno Valley. We appreciate that. I also I like to see the competition with all the CUPs we've been handing out for the pot shops. So, or I should say cannabis businesses. So it's good to see the liquor stores are still doing, that they're expanding. So good for you.
Thank God we're doing good.
Vice Chairperson Baker? Actually, Vice Chair, if you could please unmute.
Okay, I'm glad to see a viable business going in that particular building. I like Duke's Liquor's sign. That looks good. Are you going to move that down to the other location, I assume? But anyhow, cutting through the chase, I applaud you making your move to a bigger location. And that's always a tactical type decision to make. So I'm all for it. Good luck.
Thank you.
And Chairperson Corsick.
I want to applaud you for taking on the new project and continuing to keep your business in Moreno Valley. You've done a good job and we wish you the best in the future. I am going to vote for this. I have absolutely no issues with it at all. So with that, could we have a motion based on our discussion so far to take a vote, please?
I move.
I'll second it.
No, you have to say what you move.
Okay, I move to approve resolution 2021-05 A and B.
Okay. Maybe
I'll
have a,
second that.
great. All right, let's have a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Bugaris?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Stefan?
Yes.
Yes.
Commissioner Harris, thank you. Commissioner DeJournette?
Yes.
Commissioner Sims?
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Baker?
Yes.
And Chairperson Corsick.
Yes, the motion carries unanimously. May we now have a staff wrap up?
Yes, the action taken by the Planning Commission this evening is an appealable action. Any interested party that would like to file an appeal may do so within 15 days of the action. And if an appeal is filed, it must be in writing directed to the community development director and stating the specific reason for the appeal along with the appeal filing. If any appeal is received, it would be attended for a public hearing before the city council. Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is other commission business. As of this time, we have no business. The next item on the agenda is staff comment. Do we have any staff comments?
No staff comments here. Thank you.
No,
I don't have any staff comments.
Okay.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is planning commissioner comments. Do we have any commissioner comments at this time? Well, I would like to say thank you to the IT people that continuously make this meeting roll along. We had a lot of speakers tonight. There was very little lag between them. And I know it's not an easy job to do, so job in my book. Thank you very much. Anyone else?
I just wanted to say Happy New Year to everybody. Let's hope 2021 is a significant improvement. We get through this COVID mess and get back on to having meetings in person.
That would be nice.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
That'd be nice.
All right, I'm going to adjourn this meeting at 9:46 p.m. to our next regular meeting of January 28th, 2021. Thank you all for attending.
You guys.
Night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.